All right, we're live. Welcome everyone to episode 8 of Bricks and Brits. This is a very special episode because it is the return of the people's champion. Mr. Rogue Runner is back after a long hiatus.
Hello. See, episode 8 is always the best episode. Like, come on, let's do this. How's it going, everyone? How's it going?
All the Star Wars detectors just left.
I have brought my blessings of the 501st Battle Pack. It's great to be back. Hope everyone's doing well. And let's do this.
We're happy to have you. We also have Mr. Cut the Craggle with us as well, as always.
Wow, you sound really happy about that.
We welcome everyone. It's Saturday. It was Friday yesterday, and we have the most amazing Lego YouTuber in the world with us, Cut the Craggle.
Let's see, what you need to do is kick me from the stream and then bring it back in 20 minutes later.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay. All right, guys. It's we're starting this off today. It's Friday. Okay. No, we won't do that. Okay, he's back. This is getting crazy.
Shall we go off live and start again?
Are you saying that you don't like sitting in the back room there for 20 minutes while I hype up the show and get it all started?
It's not my most favorite thing, no.
Okay, I'm taking notes here. I'm trying to figure this out. This is new to me.
Oh, Rogue, did you miss this?
Why am I here?
He's never coming back again. So I'm going to change the title to
I'm joking.
Rogue's final episode.
It's fun to be back. Thanks for having me back, guys. I've missed this. It's cool to be back, and looking forward to some fun chats.
Speaking of fun, I think Craggle has some questions for me to get wrong.
Oh, yes. So this is the part where I quiz Greg on all things British. And since we're in December, and it's that time of the year, these are all Christmas-themed questions.
Oh, I got this.
You think you got
well.
Rogue, you can't help him. No one in the chat help him, okay?
Is the record still 1 out of 3?
I think you've got a couple right.
Yeah, I've got two out of...
We gave you half a point for one last time as well, didn't we?
I think I'm at 2.5 out of 21.
Something like that. Someone will have to go through and make a record.
It's time for a Christmas miracle. Can Greg get 3 questions
Christmas miracle.
A Christmas miracle will be getting 1 right. Let's just be honest here.
Okay, right. Let me get these up. I forgot to actually load the document. I saved them on a document this time. Okay. So, question 1. When is Boxing Day?
Oh, that's easy. That is on December 27th.
Boxing Day is actually a holiday celebrated the day after Christmas Day on December 26th.
Frick! I knew it was close because I'm always looking at the calendar.
Sorry, you're actually both wrong. Logan Paul doesn't fight Floyd Mayweather till February, so technically that's Boxing Day.
Oh, I can't wait to see that bloodbath. That's going to be fantastic.
Sorry, I had to sneak the pun in there. I'm so sorry.
Dude, I was like 50-50 on the 26th and 27th because I always see it on the calendar. I'm like, oh,
I didn't even realize that you were aware of it. Wow.
Yeah,
also,
yeah.
I mean,
I don't know what it is or what happens on that day, but I always see it on the calendar, and I'm like, I know it's sometime between Christmas and my birthday, and I have a 50-50 here, so I'm going to go for the 27th.
All right. Well, a lot of people do think actually that Boxing Day is to do with boxing and sports, but there are conflicting theories as to how Boxing Day got its name. But it definitely has nothing to do with the sport of boxing. According to the Oxford English Dictionary, the term Boxing Day dates from the mid-18th century and refers to the practice of giving tradesmen like postmen and servants Christmas boxes following Christmas Day, offered in gratitude for their services throughout the year. Whereas today, Boxing Day means different things to many different people. For some, it's simply a day to sleep off the effects of overzealous festive eating. For others, an opportunity to bag a high street bargain, or head and go and watch the football.
Wow.
So,
I love all that, but I don't love the fact that I had the 50-50 wrong.
You got it wrong.
I knew it was one of those 2 days. I should have known that. I always will now, and I thank you for that, Craggle.
You're very welcome. Okay, question 2. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
Okay. How do you pull a Christmas cracker?
Okay.
You're Googling it.
No, I'm not. I'm Googling my brain for what this could possibly be. Pulling a Christmas cracker?
Uh-huh.
So we have these things.
Greg, check your personal messages.
I don't-
Wait, don't tell Craig.
the answers.
I refuse to cheat. I'd rather get wrong than cheat on it. What I'm assuming this is I don't know if you guys do this, but when you're sitting down for dinner, like a family dinner or whatever, and everyone's plates are out, and then you have the thing in the middle that you pull on both ends and it explodes, and inside there's like a little gift. That's pulling a Christmas cracker. You pop that thing open, it explodes, and you have a little toy inside.
Wow. You got it right.
No.
Yeah. Do you
Son
have those in
of-
America?
How did I get that right, but not get the 26 right? Like if I was 2 for 2 right now, I'm not letting this thing go. This Boxing Day thing is going to haunt me forever. But I'm happy I got 1 out of 3 because usually going into question 3, I'm down 2. So
I can't believe that you got Christmas cracker right.
I was going to say like,
So do you actually have those over there?
I was going to say like nudging your friend, your white friend,
God.
pulling a Christmas cracker.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
I
only know
thought it was
because
like, having a festive one-night stand, but
Can I call somebody a cracker or is that racist?
Well, over here, if you say a cracker, normally it's not used very often, but it normally means like someone who's hot. Like,
Oh,
she's
no.
a cracker.
No, this would be like, what up, my cracker? Like
Oh,
it's like a white person.
So you've just brought racism into our podcast.
I mean-
how many minutes are we in now?
It took me until episode 8 to start getting racist, but we're getting there now.
Wow.
I feel like you can be racist towards your own race though a little bit. You know what I mean?
Anyway, back to the quiz.
This is
Okay,
my finest moment.
Okay, I know he got a question right without like any hesitation, and then he soils that by being a racist.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's go number 3.
Question 3. You'll never get this. What is a pantomime?
Pantomime.
Mm-hmm.
That is when you are acting like you're doing something when you're not actually doing it. You're like inside a box and you're a pantomime.
Wait, Craig, did you say pantomime or pantomime?
Pantomime.
Mime, M-I-M-E?
Uh-huh.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, pantomime. You're actually you're inside a box, you're pulling a rope. You're not actually doing it, you're pretending. You got your face painted white.
I'm afraid to say pantomimes have nothing to do with mime artists.
Darn it.
You're wrong. Okay, so pantomimes are actually pretty hard to explain. So fasten your seatbelt, okay? Pantomimes or pantos are a musical comedy stage production, usually based around a well-known children's story or fairy tale, like Cinderella, Puss in Boots, Jack and the Beanstalk. They're full of slapstick for the kids and innuendos to get the adults laughing, plus there's a big focus on cross-dressing. So the main character, be it Peter Pan or Robin Hood, is always played by an attractive young woman in revealing attire. And then you have a panto dame, who is often the main character's mother, and is always played by a man in a flamboyant, over-the-top dress with exaggerated makeup. And then she also usually falls in love with the main villain, who is also played by a man. Now, in pantomimes, there's a lot of audience participation, so the main character will often ask the kids in the audience to let them know when they see the baddie, and then when the baddies sneak up on the protagonist, like throughout the play, it's the role of the audience to scream, "He's behind you!" And then basically the main character keeps looking around and missing him whilst the audience are screaming and pointing to where he is on stage.
I'm going to disagree and tell you that I'm right. I'm looking at this website right now. It says, what's the main difference between mime and pantomime? Pantomime is the art of creating the illusion of reality by dealing with imaginary objects or situations. Its art rests in the ability to imply weight, texture, line, rhythm, and force to the air around them. Mime, on the other hand, is the art of acting silently through various kinds of theatrical movement. So when I said that you're acting like you're pulling a rope or touching a window or whatever, that is pantomime. So I'm taking credit for that one.
I just Googled pantomime and it doesn't come up with that, Greg.
Are you looking at GregGetsTheAnswersRight.com? That's the
I'm
website.
looking at Google.com, pantomime.
Yeah, I don't trust Google. I don't know
why, but I somehow spelled it right. I thought it was Pantomime and then N-E, not M-E. I don't know why I always thought that, but...
Or pantomime.
Yeah, I think I just spelled it
No,
wrong.
it's pantomime.
Oh, fair enough. I just...
Pantomime?
Pantomime. Google it.
I don't know.
Pantomime is a participatory form of theatre, I can't speak, in which the audience is expected to sing along with certain parts of music and shout out phrases to performers. That's the first line on Google.
Is that a website you actually trust? Come on now. Google.
Well, I trust it more than you, Greg.
Dang it.
Luke 44 says, I have learned more from Cut the Craggle than I have from all my years in school.
Wow.
And also, just a quick shout out, Phantom Films. It's their birthday today, so happy birthday, Phantom Films.
Congratulations.
Well, one thing I have to say, though, because Greg decided to argue with the judicator, the question master, I'm going to take away his 1 point.
No, now it's 0 for 3.
Overruled.
I worked so hard to get that one right.
Overruled.
Luke 44, I googled and Craggle is right.
That's the problem. You're Googling.
What do you want us to do?
Ask
Jeeves?
Jeeves? Absolutely.
I knew you were going to say that.
This is Bricks and Brits. Why would you not be using Ask Jeeves?
Exactly.
Isn't it even still alive, that website?
Probably. Remember Dogpile? Dogpile.com? That was a search engine before Google.
I remember Yell. Remember Yell?
No. Netscape? Is that a thing? I don't know. Anyways,
I'm joking. You can have your point back. You got
no, I don't know. I feel like okay, I'll take the 1 point.
Wait,
okay.
Are we now saying the new fake sponsor of Bricks and Brits is, Ask Jeeves?
Yeah, their marketing budget is really through the roof right now.
We're
And they
bringing
decided,
it back.
how many people are going to Ask Jeeves right now to see if it's still a thing?
Exactly. Yeah,
they should actually pay us because everyone's now Googling Ask Jeeves.
But they're Googling it though. This isn't working.
If you go to Ask Jeeves, make sure to say Bricks and Brits sent you. I'm sure they'll appreciate that.
You have to ask Jeeves. Ask Jeeves. You can't Google it. We're not making any money that way.
Okay, shall we start this again?
Why don't we just jump into the part of this that people like are like they want to know about, like Lego stuff and things like that, I think.
Sure, yeah.
Wait, what is this Lego you speak of?
That's true. We don't have to talk about any Lego if you don't want to.
This isn't Lego. This is a Danish building toy. This,
Nothing looks like a chicken.
Interconnecting brick system.
Exactly. See, there is no Lego logo to be seen. It's not Lego.
I love that Rogue came back on the time when he has his Disney castle again.
Oh yeah, I look at it and admire it.
Oh, the greatest thing known to man.
Is that a Disney logo there you've added?
Yeah, so that is a Disney pin from Disney World. And, yeah,
it's really non-Lego. Really cool. You've put non-Lego in a Lego set, you heathen.
Arrest me.
At least it's not a weapon.
So Rogue's been back for 1 episode, and already he's asked me to put in handcuffs. This is getting kinky.
I think Rogue needs to become a permanent part of this again. It's just not the same. So what are we going to talk about here? We go into this with relatively little planning. We have no outline. We just are like, we're here.
I mean, Of course, it is the holiday season. It's, coming up to Christmas time or Life Day, if you're a Star Wars fan. I'm curious if you guys have been working on any Christmas displays to do with Lego, for example, or Star Wars, or other, collectibles and things. What are you guys doing for your Christmas displays or holiday season displays?
Greg, you want to go first?
Yeah, my answer is very simple. Nothing.
That's also my answer.
Right.
Yeah, I've been more into this December being the month of me moving everything out of my space instead of actually building things. So like I got nothing, but we'll be getting into it, I'm sure.
The missus built the gingerbread house from last year. I still have the Christmas Village fire station mint in the box, which I keep saying I'm going to build and don't. So
build it.
We've got a bunch of little Christmas promos from Christmas past that I could get into for sure.
One thing I do every year. So when I was a kid, we used to have we had some of the really old, like I don't know if they're the original ones, but the super old Lego Christmas like polybags and sets. And these aren't like creator expert scale. These are literally like miniature little builds, like a turkey, for example, Santa in his sleigh, someone skiing and such. So, for example, I build that once a year, every year. So every year we get out this little box that has all these vintage Lego Christmas sets, and I just put a couple of them, most of my ornaments as well, to put them on the tree. That's like my Christmas tradition. So that's what I've done.
I love that.
Christmas
I
this
love the
year.
idea of having a tradition like that where
Yeah.
you build the same thing. Like I was going to do that with the winter holiday train, where every year we'd get that
Oh
out.
yeah.
But Lego, I don't know why they keep doing this, but they keep putting out sets every year that I really like for Christmas.
I mean,
And
one
we
thing I
bought.
had when I was a kid, so it's broken, but I know every year I say I'm going to fix it. And I still haven't to this day. So when I was a kid, I was very lucky. I had the original. This is like 2005 or six, I think. The original Lego Christmas train. So I need to rebuild that one year, and it had like the bunny and like a cat and like these really cool figures, and yeah, it's like an original version of the latest Christmas train they've done. So that's something on my list for sure. But yeah, those miniature sets we've got on polybags, we've had them for at least I want to say nearly like 2 decades now. Like, and for every year, like in the same box, and every year get them out, build them up, put them on the tree. It's really just a fun time.
That's awesome.
It's just
I love
it's
how
fun.
Rogue says when I was a kid, like it was a long time ago, and really it was like 6 months ago.
Hilarious. Your banter is Captain Craig.
It's like when I was growing up with those 2018, 2019 sets, they were so magical as my childhood.
I still find it disgusting that a 20-year-old was born in the year 2000. What's up with that?
Yeah.
It's wrong.
Yeah, I think next week I might do some Christmas things with Disney Castle, like put some displays on there and do some festive like displays maybe with it and such. But I haven't really thought of anything yet. But maybe put a Christmas tree like in the castle or something.
Aren't you going to take it out for a date?
Well, during the pandemic, I don't know if that's possible, Craggle.
Oh, okay. So you're gonna Netflix and chill with the Disney Castle.
You have a very interesting imagination, Craggle.
Actually, I need to build that Charles Dickens promo. I need to do that. I got the little ice skating rink. I need to build that. This is the first year I think that I haven't gotten the actual Lego Christmas set, if you will, like the elf set. It was gone. It sucks, but it was gone too.
So I have the old one here, the Hans Christian Andersen one with I think it was the Ugly Duckling they did with this, but I didn't get Charles Dickens this year. But it's a nice little set. Christmas promos are really cool. I was actually watching earlier a good friend of all of ours, Brickinet. He has a really cool Winter Village, and I'm watching it he's got all the lights and things. I'm just like, there's every year I'm like, I'm gonna get the Winter Village set. I'm gonna get it, and I just don't. So I regret not getting a lot of those. I know a lot of those sets go for a fair bit nowadays.
I wouldn't get this year's. The Elf Clubhouse is terrible.
I think it's okay. It's not as good as some of them, but I think it's fine.
I would say in the years that we've been collecting, which since like 2013, this year is probably my least favorite of all of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
To the point where I would rather rebuild
has the train station, which I think is pretty cool, and the missus I mentioned got the gingerbread house. It's just a bit weird. Like I think we mentioned it before. Like how some of the Winter Village sets are kind of like set in like what appears to be a real human village that's just like somewhere snowy at Christmas time, and then other ones have like these fantasy characters like talking gingerbread men and elves and stuff. It's a bit weird.
I like those ones personally. Like I like Santa's Workshop. I remember that one was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I like the gingerbread house. I think that one was fantastic. But I get what you're saying. If you're trying to make a town, like you can't really make a town out of things where you have gingerbread men standing there against like people that are singing Christmas carols.
Yeah.
Sorry, Percy. Like I kind of like the the gingerbread house and the elf club house and the Santa's Workshop because it gives them kind of more like opportunities to do more like fun builds and things and like fun little scenes. And the gingerbread house I've seen is Percy, well, at least in my opinion, I think it's one of the better builds of the Winter Village.
It is. So it's a good set.
I really like him, and
the only thing I don't like about it is the baby, that printed tile. It's such a letdown.
Yeah.
Hey, sorry, Connor. But yeah,
hey, Sty's here.
And Mahan, there won't be a drop test of Disney Castle. I'm sorry. No. It's actually glued to the table, so can't do anything there.
You glued it? You craggled it?
Of course.
Wow. That's upsetting.
No, I haven't. But yeah, no, I really like the Winter Village, and it's cool to see the different displays people do every year, and it's really fun, and they look great with the train going around as well. So I really need to rebuild that train, but it's from like 2006. So all the parts I don't know where they are, but one day I'll rebuild that. One
Polar Express. It kind of is like the Polar Express. It's basically like an unlicensed version of that.
I don't know. I think it's cool. Have you guys been opening the Lego Advent Calendar this year? You guys got any of those?
Oh yeah.
Did you just ask Greg if he has a Lego advent calendar?
I don't have any countertop left. I have so many advent calendars going on right now.
But yeah, I didn't get one this year, but I'm curious which ones you guys got this year. Did you both go for Star Wars, City, Friends? Which ones did you guys go for?
Yes.
Yeah.
Greg has all of them. I know Craigle has a Playmobil one.
Yeah, I have the Back to the Future Playmobil advent calendar, and I have the Lego Star Wars one. I actually have two because the first one came demolished, and they sent me a second one. And they said just keep the first one, so I've got that. It is battered, but yeah, I was disappointed this year with the Harry Potter one because they did the first Lego Harry Potter advent calendar last year, and I absolutely adored that. I thought it was fantastic. I love the minifigures, I love the little builds, the exclusive printed tile, and then this year. It's like basically an add-on pack to the clock tower when the Yule Ball at the back, except if you have that set, you already have the majority of stuff from the advent calendar. Yeah. So it just didn't appeal to me. But the Star Wars one, I'm really enjoying.
Absolutely, the Star Wars one, in my opinion, like we're doing Star Wars, we're doing City, we're doing Harry Potter, and a Friends one from last year. Mm-hmm. I'll never buy a Friends advent calendar again. Ever.
Really?
I say that, but I'll buy one next year. The Star Wars one, in my opinion, is the only advent calendar you need this year. It's levels and levels above the other ones that we're doing. Like the Harry Potter one is slightly above Friends. The City one is like okay if you like little micro scale vehicles, but the Star Wars one is just like it's the advent calendar.
Yeah. It's really good. And even though I said I wasn't a fan of the holiday special, I'm kind of glad now looking at it that they based it on that because you get stuff like, you get things from all the different trilogies. You also get those Christmas jumpers and stuff. It's just a really fun advent calendar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like we built X-Wings.
Like Star Wars outdid themselves, which I agree with. Like this year, Star Wars I think really nailed it. I mean, the past few years, there's been some where I haven't been as impressed with the Lego Star Wars advent calendar. Like the Lego builds in them have been a bit. So minifigures haven't been great, but this year they definitely I think nailed it with the advent calendar. And
I do miss having the Christmas version of a certain character. We kind of we have the two torsos this year, with Christmas jumpers on, which make up for that. But when we used to get like a Santa Darth Maul or a Santa Boba Fett?
Yeah, I've got Santa.
My favorite was the white Chewbacca when he had like the bandolier, but it was like Christmas lights on him instead. That was fantastic. I really wish they would start doing that again because last year we had a Porg which just used a couple of different color plates on there and he put a Christmas hat on. And then this year you have the what's the droid called?
Dio.
Yeah, you have.
I was gonna say you're not satisfied with Dio with the Christmas hat.
They did that with BB-8, I think, one year as well. Like I've got the Darth Maul, I've got Darth Vader and C-3PO, the three I've got, and R2-D2 with the reindeer antlers as well, and they're really cool. So I do miss them, but at the same time as well, like. I think it's cool getting all the different Star Wars minifigures. Yes, you get the Christmas jumpers, but still, like, you can use these minifigures and builds and things, and some of the minifigures only come in like some of the larger sets. Like I know the Rey in this year's only comes in the Pisana Chase, I think. So it's a cool way to get that.
Doesn't she come in the? I think she come in the Pisana Chase and also the Knights of Ren Transport.
Right, but it's so it's a cool way to get that Rey minifigure if you don't have those sets, which are somewhat expensive a little bit, about £50 range. So it's a good way to get those minifigures.
Oh yeah,
like Rey and Dio as well, who's only like the Y-wing, for example. So it's really good.
The Falcon as well.
yeah.
Come on, Rogue. You call yourself Rogue Runner. Where's your Star Wars knowledge?
I mean, if you want to have a Star Wars knowledge debate, I'll do that anyway.
Throwdown.
Don't you worry.
I could be the moderator of that. That'd be fun. I think the advent calendar is great, though. I'm like, we've got a Sith Trooper, which I've loved. Hopefully, people have already opened these days. This is gonna be spoilerific.
I haven't opened today's. I'm waiting to open today's.
Clark loves Saturdays and Sundays because we all do it together, and that's why I love these advent calendars. But the A-wing in it is a better A-wing build than the one that came in the promo from earlier, which is interesting. And that was literally like day one of the advent calendar. And I was like, from there, the Star Wars just been kicking.
It's a really good selection of minifigures. I mean, in all fairness, like I was joking with Rogue a little bit, but yeah, it is a good way of getting some figures that are maybe a bit more expensive to get. Like I haven't got any of the sets with the episode 9, Yeah, 9. Got to count then on my hand. The Rise of Skywalker Rey. So for me, this was a good way of getting that as well. Unfortunately, you do get like the 20-second fanboy Luke this year.
Yeah.
You
also get a micro scale Razor Crest though too, which is kind of cool.
That's
the only thing I've been a little bit underwhelmed by is the Millennium Falcon because it's so paper thin. It's weird.
Dude, that was a mother to build too. Like Clarky was trying to do that and he's like, I can't do this. So I was looking at it.
Obscene. Like
there was one part in it.
Didn't they?
Yeah, there's one part in it that you have no idea how this piece is going on. You just have to assume that it's a 1x1 plate that's going in there.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, I guess it's probably the red one that's like the other side. They just gave no fricks in showing you how to put it together.
Yeah, I had the exact same thing. It was like, how does this go together? I mean, I think they're quite good in normally how they show you how to build something in one picture. But with that one, it was so bizarre. I had to sort of build as much as I could, and then with the leftover pieces go, okay, well, I shouldn't have a leftover one of those. That must go there.
Yeah, I'm glad I don't do videos on these because I would have been embarrassing myself on that one. Where I'm like, well, I'm trying to build this Millennium Falcon. But,
I mean, so I didn't get a chance to get the Advent calendar this year, but I kind of regret not getting this year's one. But
wait a sec. Rogue doesn't know which sets minifigures come in. He didn't get the Lego Star Wars Advent calendar. Such a fraud.
Dude,
I mean, I only mentioned
college student.
I only mentioned like one set for each figure, so I can make my point, dude. I know which sets minifigures. Don't you worry. I know.
He's a historian.
Yeah, exactly. I just didn't get the Advent calendar this year. Just didn't really have time to get it. But I regret not getting it. But they'll come every year. Like they'll be on Amazon within like 2 months, and they'll be like 30% off. It'll be all right.
I don't know if you guys
would reduce down quite low anyway, weren't they? Greg, in America anyway.
They have been consistently. Like day one when we went to see these things at the store, they were already like 25% off. Wow. And I'm like, is this a pricing error or are these all $10 off? And they must have sold well because we went back a week later and the whole display was gone. And I like the Harry Potter one I got for half off. The other ones I got for about 25% off. But it's weird. Like you guys probably can't relate to this, but like when you have Halloween and everyone's buying candy and stuff, if you go the next day after Halloween, like candy is like super cheap, clearanced out or whatever. It's unfortunate that advent calendars aren't like that because they're already sold by then. But if they were sitting there on, December 25th, you should be able to get an advent calendar for $5 or something like that.
Yeah. It used to be like that with Easter over here, like of all the chocolate eggs. But now supermarkets seem to do it like the day before. So if you want to get cheap Easter eggs, go like the day before Easter or on the day. Just like tell your kids, hey, I'm just going to go and like talk to the Easter Bunny and then just go buy them on day one.
There you go.
Yeah. And Upside Down Brick is saying that they're not a fan of the Falcon at all this year with the Advent calendar.
Yeah, it was a pain to build and it is so thin. It's really weird. It's like just the top part of the Falcon, I thought. It just there's like nothing underneath it or to the side of it. It's weird.
It's the only one that I have space to display, so I'm happy with it.
Well, the only one of the Advent calendar builds, or the only
the only Millennium Falcon out of Lego that I can find a space for.
It's the only build I haven't liked. Like you said, the Razor Crest I thought was really cool. Like I had to catch myself because I built it and then I started swooshing it around like a 5-year-old. I was like, dude, come on. You're a funny grown man.
X-Wing in there. Luke was like, I was like, well, there's Luke again.
Yeah, I wish Rey had the yellow lightsaber because in the holiday specials it's set after Rise of Skywalker and she has a yellow lightsaber.
Absolutely, that would have been great.
Yeah, that would be
cool. Do you have the city one, Greg?
Yeah, the city one. It's all micro scale vehicles for the most part with a couple minifigs thrown in. The one, probably the coolest one is this guy that came out the same day that Poe did. Like the city ones and Star Wars ones kind of match up one for one. Like if you get a vehicle, you get a vehicle, minifig. And the day that we got Poe, I think it was like the second day, the city character had like a blue like sweater or jumper on, and it had like a little teddy bear with a police hat on it, which was kind of cool. But the city one to me is like that's the one we've always done historically, but I just see the Star Wars one dominating it at this point.
Yeah, like thinking back, I mean, so I've had a few of the Star Wars ones. I remember as a kid, I had a few of the city ones they did like early on. I had 1 year they did a castle one. I think it was a Kingdoms one. I can't remember if it was Kingdoms or Castle, but I had that 1 year. That was really cool. Had some great medieval minifigures there, like some knights and things and kings. That was cool, and queens. What else did I have as a kid? And I think mainly I've focused on the Star Wars calendars. They've always been really, really good. I remember the first year they announced they're doing them. It was just like, what? Like it was just such a cool thing. And every year I think for the most part, they've nailed the Star Wars one.
You know, what do you guys think about a Ninjago calendar?
I'm really surprised they haven't done one, to be honest with you.
Judging by Ninjago's popularity and stuff, like, it is surprising they haven't at least tried doing one. Maybe they just don't want to have, now that Harry Potter has one, they don't want to have too many on the shelves at once, because now they've got Star Wars City, Friends, Harry Potter's 4 already. You know, and like, was there no like 24-in-1 promo calendar this year? There wasn't, was there?
No, I don't remember seeing it. No,
they did a couple promos leading up to, I guess it was in the fall, where they did the creator boxes that you can build mobile things out of, but not necessarily a holiday one.
Yeah, and like, I know they've had the ice skating rink, the Charles Dickens set. I think they did a Christmas tree or something, like a snowball fight.
They've been killing it with the promos lately.
Yeah, there's been a couple of Christmas.
Just a shame that there's not been enough stuff to buy.
Yeah, I want the promo. There's just nothing in stock to get.
I want the ice rink, but there's like nothing that I want, you know, until New Year. I mean, I got the Charles Dickens promo. I need to build that. I was disappointed though when I realized it was stickers on there, because the Hans Christian Andersen one that Rogue showed earlier, that had printed pieces on it. I was gutted that they didn't do that again. It felt a bit cheap.
And also as well, I haven't got a main Christmas build to hand, but I do have this, which is at least set in snow. So that's my Christmas build.
I do like that set. I'm not even a fan of the big UCS ships, but I like the snow speed.
I only have 2 technically UCS sets, this and the Slave one. I've also got Ewok Village and the Tantive 4, but this is my favorite Ultimate Collector set in my collection. I love the snow. The snow speed is one of my favorite vehicles in all of Star Wars, and this set does not disappoint at all. It's only out for 2 years as well, which is quite disappointing. Like, it literally just, you know, arrived 2017 and was gone by like early 2019. It was just like, oh.
I'll tell you what, that's not as fast as the Christmas Reef this year.
It's like 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah. I've heard about that.
Within a month, it was retired. That's insane.
Because we even just ran out of stock, and they're like, well, we're out of stock, and I guess that's the end of it.
Yeah, I think what it was, I don't think it was ever intended to be a set that they were going to do more than 1 year. I know that sounds crazy, but I feel like they were just going to do it for 2020, the season on there. And they made as much stock as they thought they would need, and they've just been overwhelmed and sold all that and decided, well, we're not going to make any more. The tooling's been discarded or whatever. Because when we spoke to Lego customer service the other day, because one of our orders, we placed it when it was double VIP, and they said we'll dispatch rather by the 5th of December, and now it's been pushed back until January. So it's kind of pointless because it was going to be a Christmas gift. And like, we've not been able to get the Christmas wreath anywhere, not in the store, not online. So when I saw that it was shown as retired on the website, I said, well, ask customer service when you're talking to them. And the woman from their customer service said, oh, yeah, it has been retired. We're just overwhelmed by how popular it is. Maybe next year we'll do something else that, you know, will be as popular.
I think they'll re-release it. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it gets a re-release.
Yeah, we'll see.
Next year.
I would say of the holiday sets and stuff, that one wasn't like super high on my list. I definitely would have picked it up.
The missus really wanted it, and she wanted to get 3 of them. She had like 2 friends that she wanted to give them as gifts to. So now they're not getting a present this year.
Too bad. Yeah, I like what Papa Bear's saying here in the chat. He's saying he's going to convert his Christmas Carol promo set into a Mickey's Christmas Carol display, which is awesome.
That's great.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And Bricken is saying, I can't believe they retired the Reef so quickly. Yeah, it is a surprise, but still, I wouldn't be shocked if next year it gets a re-release. Maybe they just didn't have enough stock prepared. Maybe they didn't think it was going to sell as much as it did. So I wouldn't be surprised next year if there's a full re-release for that set.
At the risk of like oversaturating Star Wars talk, do we think that they're going to do a new Slave 1 next year?
Personally,
I hope not.
No, I don't think they will, because I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if they did. But I think there's probably other things on their list to do. Like, I don't think a Slave 1 will be high up on the list at the moment, especially because only 2 years ago we got a pretty good Slave 1. So, you know, kind of improving that set, I think, would be quite difficult to do within that time period.
Has that stopped them with land speeders, though?
No,
but I don't know, because the Slave 1, because obviously the anniversary one, I think, is retired. Like, I think it's retired this month. And that's the one I've got, which I love. And I know the demand for that has soared because of, I don't know, are we allowed to say why?
Sure.
I mean, it was last week, wasn't it, that it was first on the screens? But yeah, it's because obviously the Slave 1 appeared in The Mandalorian, so.
Yeah. I mean, I was talking about this actually with Bricken the other day. We were actually talking about just Mandalorian. We brought out the Razor Crest, and something we both agreed on was that if you've got the UCS Slave One, like there's not. For example, I thought the 2019 Slave One was really cool, but because I have the UCS Slave One, I have no interest in buying another Slave One. So for me, it's like, if they did it a new Slave One, cool, but I'm not going to buy it.
No, but I get that. What I'm saying is because now with the Mandalorian, there's going to be loads of fans who might not have had any interest in Slave One, who will now want one.
I personally,
I think it's going to be short-lived, though. I think it appeared in these couple episodes. Maybe it'll be in the next season, possibly. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I feel like the hype is here now, and it's going to pass. And
I think
Lego are really slow on doing Mandalorian sets, aren't they?
I think with Mandalorian, rather than re-releasing old vehicles, I think they're going to solely focus on the new vehicles. For example, the Imperial Cruiser that Moff Gideon has, for example, I think deserves finally a Lego release. It was in Rebels quite a lot. I think it might have showed up in Rogue One. I can't remember, but it needs a set at this point. So I rather than focus on new vehicles, the folding TIE Fighter as well. Definitely.
TIE Fighter, definitely. Yeah.
And a new Imperial Troop Transporter.
I cannot see the meme with Moff Gideon's thing with the butt plug. That's all I see now, is that it looks like a butt plug.
But,
I wish you had never showed that to me, because then when I saw it last night, we were watching the show, I was like, yep.
It was revenge for the Tantive Fist. That's what it was.
I think that we'll get a Mandalorian set, perhaps with the Boba Fett minifigure next year, but I don't think there'll be a Slave One set in particular.
I'm still waiting for them to do a Jango Fett one. When's the anniversary now of Attack of the Clones? Is it?
So 2 years.
Yeah, so we got 2 years.
I've got the old Jango Fett Slave One somewhere. Really cool, but yeah, it does. At this point, it's kind of like Obi-Wan's Blue Interceptor. It needs a re-release at this point. Yeah. So let's have a look in the chat. So yeah, Mahan's saying that he really wants to get the Slave One now, and he's trying to find one that actually re-released the 20.
Demand on it has gone massively up now because of that episode. I feel like with Slave One, that I get like fans like our age and stuff will already had the UCS or will had the 2019 one, but I feel like there's a market for the ship now because of people seeing Boba in the show and seeing how cool he is, that people were like, oh, I want that ship. Especially like we've got our best look of like the interior yet than we have in any of the movies as well.
But yeah, I just personally, I'm not sure if that would generally affect their sort of strategy and plans for sets being released, especially next year, for example.
No, it should, because it would sell, but Lego don't often do things that sell.
Yeah. I mean, and yeah, looking at the chat, Upside Down Brick makes a good point that I agree with. They should, a Juggernaut from the latest episode would be a really cool set. I agree with that as well. It's been a few years since last.
When I'm looking at the Slave One, I can't help but think like it's a cool ship and all, but the way that it flies makes absolutely zero sense for aerodynamics at all.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's meant to fly mainly in space, so you don't need aerodynamics in space.
But I guess that's a good point. But when you're like flying through the air, like he was on that planet, and you're flying in like a vertical fashion like that. Why wouldn't you fly horizontally so the air cuts past you? But maybe fuel's unlimited. Who knows what it even runs off of? Maybe those type of things don't matter. And if you want to look cool, that's more important than making something that's functional.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah,
I mean, there's a good one here from Cinematic Art 88 says, speaking of, I'm thinking it's Mandalorian, are you going to talk about all the Disney Plus announcements?
Bad Batch, Bad Batch, Bad Batch, Bad Batch, Bad Batch. Oh my God, Bad Batch. Sorry, the trailer was just amazing. Sorry. I'll be quiet now.
I was underwhelmed by the trailer. The Bad Batch was a cool arc in season 7, especially because I hadn't already seen like the half-finished versions of the episode. But honestly, I felt like they were cool, but they were way too overpowered. They were way too OP.
I'm in the same boat there. I thought they were in season 7, but this trailer is clearly, I think, showing they're going to be brought back down to earth a little bit. And from the trailer, it kind of looks like they're not going to go ahead with Order 66, or at least they're going to go with the Empire. So that's going to be really cool to see. This is basically, I think it was Solid Brick Studios made this comment. I remember seeing it. This is basically Clone Wars season 8. Which is really, really cool. So I personally
I don't see that. I mean, I get like it's the same animation style and it's characters that were in Clone Wars, but I don't feel like it's going to be thematically a continuation. No,
not necessarily, but like it's going to be sort of, at least it's going to feel like a Clone Wars sort of thing, which is cool. And it does look like they are also in the trailer. You can sort of see. I think they are doing that Cancel Kashyyyk arc, which is really cool. So maybe Yoda.
If they did the arc with Boba Fett and Cad Bane, I'd be hype.
Yeah,
I would have worked that in there.
I don't think they're going to do it, unfortunately. I think it's going to be, in at least perspective of Bad Batch. What is cool is that, what's her name? Sorry, it's the sniper from Mandalorian.
Oh, Fennec.
Yep, so she's in the trailer, which is really cool. Young Fennec, so that's really cool.
I hope they have the same actress voicing her.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see with the show.
She's actually Mulan, the original Mulan.
But to me, at least, Bad Batch was one of the best things, I think. I personally was not looking forward to this show, but now I'm completely on board. And it does look like as well, they're teasing Camino. So Cody, we might get to see how his story maybe continues or ends, perhaps. So that's really cool. And also, we don't know if Echo is even going to do Order 666 or not. Like Bad Batch might not do it, but Echo might still have the chip, so we don't know. So there's a lot, I think, as a big prequel fan, but also as someone who grew up with Clone Wars and the show means a lot to me. Like, this is really, really cool that they're trying to at least continue it somehow, which is great. And what's funny is a lot of the episodes, it's just going to be D. Bradley Baker basically talking to himself because he voices all the clones. That's going to be really funny. Grand Moff
also,
Tarkin,
I find it a bit hard to take seriously because one of them looks like Charlie Sheen from Hot Shots.
I don't know the reference, sorry.
Greg, you've seen Hot Shots, right?
No.
Oh, God. Okay, well, in the chat, people, let me know. I can't remember the name of the clone, but he looks like Charlie Sheen in Hot Shots. Like, his hair is, like, he has the red bandana. Someone back me up.
There's somebody out there.
Somebody out there.
In the chat there about, the character of Bad Batch, and I agree, there wasn't a lot to them, at least too much in Clone Wars Season 7, but, from the trailer, again, it kind of looks like they're going to leave the Clone Army or the Empire at this point. So
I didn't get any of this from the trailer. To me, it was just lots of pow, bang, wallop in the trailer. There was no hint of any kind of storyline.
I personally just disagree. I saw quite a lot, and again, there's been a lot of demand for at least more shows between 3 and 4 and kind of explain what happened to the Clone Army, what's going on between 3 and 4, and getting Bad Batch. Kenobi. This is what we've been waiting for, at least in my opinion, for so long. Like fans, Clone Wars fans and prequel fans. This is what we've been wanting for so long. So it's just amazing they're finally getting that as well. I'm really happy. Ahsoka sounds really cool, and Rangers.
I knew Ahsoka was going to happen. I said that her episode was pretty much a backdoor pilot for a live-action Ahsoka series. That was a done deal.
Yeah, I'm
really excited for, because I was excited for when they said they were going to do the Obi-Wan movie. The one thing that makes me a little nervous is it's great that Hayden Christensen's coming back as Vader, but when they said there's going to be the rematch of the century, I'm like, wait, what? Because I imagine that like Vader would either see him like from afar or like on a holo projections, or would be flashbacks to Clone Wars. That was what I was really hoping, that you'd see Hayden as Anakin alongside Obi-Wan and have flashbacks to Clone Wars. We never really saw the Clone Wars in live action, just the first and last battle. So now they're saying that Vader and Obi-Wan are going to have a rematch in between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. I'm just really nervous about that. Someone did say that it could be like a Force vision, almost like when Luke fights Vader on Dagobah. That would make sense. But if they actually meet up in between, I feel like it's going to rob some of the impact.
If they are going to do it, which, I agree. I think it will cause some confusion with New Hope especially. But I think this might be it's only been one season, we know that. But I think they're going to stretch it out quite a bit, where it might start, because when, for example, in New Hope, when Obi-Wan says, I haven't heard that name in a long time, and how Luke's Uncle Owen had lied about who Obi-Wan was and such, and Anakin. So I think it might start where maybe there's a fight between Obi-Wan and Uncle Owen, like an argument, like in the comics, for example, and Obi-Wan might briefly leave Tatooine to go do some, learn about the Force, with Qui-Gon, for example. Like that's teased at the end of Revenge of the Sith as well when Yoda talks to him. So there might be a part where he briefly leaves Tatooine, and there he might bump into Vader. And there's something might go horribly wrong to a point where, because it's going to be, at least from what they're
it's just gonna make the whole Weeks and New Hope even more of a stretch, because as it is, because they had like in Revenge of the Sith, they had Anakin had already become a Jedi Knight himself. It made some of the lines in New Hope sort of like not make 100% sense, because he, Obi-Wan talks about Anakin being a pupil of his right up until he turned to dark side. Vader even says, when I left you, I was the learner, but now I'm the master. You can kind of stretch that and say, well, yeah, he was a Jedi Knight, but he was still learning or whatever. You can, stretch your internal logic. But if they're going to end up having like a big fight in between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope, it's going to make A New Hope just like, oh, okay, round 3, is it? It's
I don't know. Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens. Like, I'm curious to see what happens. I think it'll be a lot of flashbacks, at least, especially with the casting of Hayden Christensen.
I hope there's flashbacks. I'd love to see live action Clone Wars and stuff.
But so I think they're going to stretch out the timeline quite a bit, and I don't think it's going to be all on Tatooine. Like I said, I think because it's going to be quite a dark show at this point. We know it's going to be, Obi-Wan thinking about Anakin and who's lost as well, and the state of the galaxy, and of course, after Order 66, he'd lost everyone at that point, really. So I think it's going to be a point where maybe he goes away from Tatooine through the galaxy. Something bad happens. He comes back and he just leaves Obi-Wan behind, which explains sort of a bit why he's Ben Kenobi in Episode 4. And so I think whilst I think that they do run the risk of causing confusion with another fight, I think there might be a way they could try and do it. So I'm hopeful. I think it'll be cool. And Deborah Chow is directing, which I think is great. And of course, she directed some of the best episodes of Mandalorian. So I'm really excited. Silence.
I think Greg's died.
I got nothing. I'm just along for the ride. I'm sure there's people that are enjoying this. I'll be looking forward to whatever shows come out, and I'll be watching them, especially the Adventures of Grogu. That's going to be my favorite one.
You said about that. They actually are doing I Am Groot series.
Really?
So, it sounds basically like your idea for a Grogu series, when you said, it would be like a cartoon and it would be just baby Grogu's adventures and be like a standalone thing, not in, the main canon. That apparently is exactly what I Am Groot's going to be. It's going to be about baby Groot and it's going to have him just doing shiz.
That'll do well, I suppose. Not as good as Grogu, but still.
I mean, going back to Star Wars as well, another thing that I think that's really cool is that they said they're doing 2 Mandalorian spin-off shows, Ahsoka and Rangers of the New Republic, and it's going to end with one climactic event. So it's sort of like a bunch of the Marvel shows coming together at the end. So that,
oh god, don't say that.
At this point, I kind of think either Ahsoka or that event will be the Rebel sequel with Thrawn, Ezra, and stuff. So that's really cool as well. So it looks like the Mandalorian season 3 it's still going to happen and all, but there's going to be a point where I think they go on to 2 separate shows and then come back together for one big event. Which is really cool. So I personally, the Marvel stuff I thought was okay, but I personally think Star Wars won the event. I don't know, but I think both sound really cool.
I think Star Wars was a lot of promises, at least with the Marvel, stuff was already nearing completion, so we had trailers and stuff. Apart from Bad Batch, they had the sizzle reel for Andor, really not even interested in that at all. They had the sort of what they called a trailer for Rogue Squadron, but really it was just Patty Jenkins talking about why she wants to make the film, which was cool, but it wasn't a trailer. With Marvel, you had the trailer for Winter Soldier and Falcon, you had the trailer for WandaVision, you had the trailer for Loki, you had at least some footage from some of the other shows as well. I think they did the Miss Marvel one. I don't know. I feel like Marvel came out on top.
I would say fair enough. At this point, again, Marvel, in my opinion, has done nothing on Disney Plus, whereas Star Wars at least has a start. So I think that with Marvel, it was more important for them to get footage out into the Star Wars because Marvel needs to start doing something on Disney Plus at this point. There's been so much demand for it, and there's been nothing at this point. So I think with Star Wars, they're already going with it already with Mandalorian, Clone Wars, and Resistance and things. And there was footage for Bad Batch. They've started production now on Andor 2 weeks ago. Kenobi starting production early next year because it got delayed by COVID and stuff. So they definitely are, I think, doing all of these things. And so for everything they've announced officially so far, they've done. So I have faith that all these things will come true. Resistance happened, Rebels happened, Clone Wars Season 7 happened. I'm hopeful. They announced 10 new Marvel shows, 10 new Star Wars shows. I thought that was crazy. So I think it's been a really good few years now for Star Wars and Marvel. And Andor sounds cool. It's going to be interesting what they do with it. There's only 12 episodes, I think, but I'm excited. And I think it's been Acolyte sounded really interesting as well. So the next Star Wars film, Rogue Squadron, is 2023. Hey, Rogue got in there. That's cool. So that's gonna be cool. 2023, and then Taika Waititi is now writing the next Star Wars trilogy. And I am actually kind of glad that the next Star Wars film isn't until 2023 because just take the time with it, make sure it's done right, and then Patty Jenkins directing I think is really, really cool. I love Wonder Woman. I'm sure Wonder Woman 84 is gonna be fantastic. So I think she's a great director, and Taika Waititi again, great directors for the new trilogy. So
yeah, I like the idea of Patty Jenkins doing a Star Wars film, and I think the idea of her doing a Rogue Squadron movie is cool. The only problem I have with that is that the logo they have has a Resistance X-wing rather than a Rebels X-wing. And I just feel like if you're not going to do proper Rogue Squadron, don't call it Rogue Squadron, call it something else. Because, I know obviously, Rogue, you're a bit younger than me, so you don't have the attachment to the old Legends canon or EU that I do. But like, we have memories of Rogue Squadron of the video games and the X-Wing novels and stuff. And then if they're going to replace that with the new Disney story, that's fine. But so far, every single Disney story that has replaced the Legends one has been weaker than what they've replaced. So I'm just like, do something completely different, or you gotta make this really good. And I just feel like as soon as I saw like it was the Resistance X-Wing, I was like, I'm out. I mean, I'm not really out. I still will go see it, but I'm like expectation lowered.
Like when I think of Rogue Squadron, I think of like Rogue 2 from the Snowspeeders on Hoth and Zev Sineski, Rogue 2, like Rogue Squadron there. So that's my attachment to Rogue Squadron. And yeah, like you said, it does look like the Resistance X-Wing in the logo, and then in the teaser, at least, of course, she gets an X-Wing, the classic X-Wing. So I don't really know, but like again, with Paige directing, I still think it could be cool. Maybe they're just trying to continue the story of Rogue Squadron or something. I haven't read it in that, but maybe they're trying to just put a new spin on it. I'm just like at this point, I'm just gonna wait and see what happens. I'm just like Patty Jenkins directing, awesome. Rogue Squadron sounds cool. Sounds like like a proper Star Wars movie again, like Rogue One, like a war film. That's what she sort of talked about, which is going to be really cool. So I'm optimistic, but yeah, I'm just like, let's wait and see what happens at this point. And it's just cool they're announcing Star Wars films again. That's like a big plus as well.
Well, if they're good.
Well, at least they're doing something with them. It could be like George Lucas, who just sat on this property for decades with nothing.
And I mean, we've got we've got the other Star Wars war film they did was Rogue One, and that was superb. So,
what did all the Star Wars people? What did all the Star Wars people complain about when there were no Star Wars movies out? Like, was that the only thing they could complain about? Was that there
was no Star Wars?
Yeah.
Apparently, one of the most happiest times of being a Star Wars fan was in the early to mid '90s when there was no Star Wars films out, but there was lots of like expanded material, novels, and audio plays and stuff like that. So
yeah, we got Clone Wars. Post Revenge of the Sith, we got Clone Wars, which was brilliant, which was cool. That was awesome. Every week, seeing a new episode in that, and yeah, that was great.
We're probably gonna watch that one of these days. It's a time commitment.
Yeah, it's tough for the first couple of seasons, Greg. I'm not gonna lie. I really struggled to get pushed through it the first couple of seasons. It does get a lot better. But yeah, I love how so many people though claim that they purposely made the first two seasons rubbish so that then there would be a massive hype and quality. I was like, who does that?
Yeah, they did.
Because who's going to stick with a show really for 2 seasons?
Yeah.
They didn't do that. No, I don't think. I think it's just they just tried to tell lots of different stories, and then they started to bring it all together in the later seasons, which is what makes it so great.
I'm surprised that you're happy about the idea of Mandalorian relying on 2 other spin-offs though for its finale. Its finale.
I didn't say it was going to rely on them. I just think it's going to break off for a bit. Just
because like before that you wanted the focus to be on Mandalorian rather than all these other characters, and now you mentioned, and I read this as well, that they're planning that when Mandalorian the show finally ends, it will be a culmination of that and Ahsoka and Rangers of the New Republic.
I think those 2 other shows. Well, I don't think Mandalorian's going to end. And also, as well, I've said this before. I was proved wrong this season. I've said this on my videos that I was proved wrong. So I'm happy for them to do it. Like, as long as they're going to do it, like they clearly proved they're doing things right with Boba Fett and Ahsoka. So I'm happy. And, Rangers of the New Republic sounds like it's going to be the Rebel pilots we've seen this season, maybe Cara Dune as well. That sounds great. And Ahsoka, the series, might just well be.
What's great about Rangers of the New Republic? What's exciting about that?
Well, the characters that might be in it. We don't know anything, so it just sounds like.
How is it exciting at this point when it's just a bland name?
Well, the things that people are talking about sound exciting.
The prospect of it becoming amazing.
I'm trying to be positive of this, they're doing new stuff. This is awesome. This is
I know. I just get frustrated, because you just no matter what Disney do, you're just overwhelmingly positive. There's not a single level of skepticism with you with it.
Craigle, his glass is half full.
Half full. It's overfilling.
I won't talk Star Wars. Rest of the stream. Let's just not talk Star Wars. I mean, there are things I've said them before, but apparently that doesn't exist. So,
listen, I'm a fanboy of things, and I go all in, and I get hyped in times when other people are like, "Yeah, I don't see why that's so amazing or whatever," and I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that.
Yeah,
no.
You got to be a fan of what you're a fan of, and back it up.
2005, I was like, okay, cool, what's next? And there was nothing, and I was upset. They're finally doing things again. I'm excited for it. Yes, I like a lot of the things they've done, and not everyone agrees with me, but I've dealt with that for years now. But there's also things that they've done that I don't like. Last Jedi wasn't a huge fan. Resistance, I really don't like it. Early Rebels, wasn't really a fan until season 1 finale. Some of the games, really not a fan. So, yes, I'm excited for a lot of these things, but I don't think that makes me essentially, just like, yes, everything. There are things I don't like. There's still things.
That was what I was hearing from you when this was getting announced. It was just, Rogue, what show do you like? Yes. Or what new announcement do you like? Yes.
It's like asking me about advent calendars.
Yeah, it's like asking Greg about advent calendars.
I'm like, yes, Disney everything, because I've said this a bunch of times. I'm not. I'm just, these things sound great to me, and I'm just saying why.
Dude, I think that regardless of how well or poorly these Star Wars things turn out, I think Disney's making a lot of good moves, and I'm really excited about the future of their subscription service, even though the price is probably going to go up dramatically as these things come out.
Oh yeah.
I think it's really cool that they're like doing something that you wouldn't necessarily want, like buying these properties like Star Wars and Marvel, but the things that they're putting out, I think are actually pretty decent, and it's something to be excited about.
I'm more excited about the Marvel TV shows coming up than I am about the next lot of Marvel films, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm more excited. I mean, WandaVision, I think, looks really interesting. I'm a big Bucky and Sam fan, so I'm really excited for the Winter Soldier and Falcon series. Loki is the one I have a big problem with, just because it feels like it's being catered to make a show just for the Tom Hiddleston Loki fangirls. Like, he had a great arc over the films, and he had this this final death, and then as soon as they kind of like gave him a get out clause in Endgame, I was like, really? Loud sigh. And now they're doing a whole show on it. And this is the Loki that from the end of the Avengers, so he hasn't had any of the character development that we witnessed over the movies. It's like, so what? We're going to see him go for either the same character development the second time, or is he just going to be the same as what he was in like the second movie he appeared in? Either way, it's a letdown to me,
Yeah,
but
I just look at where Marvel is right now. I'm very curious to see what happens. Like, What If looks cool, but like, a lot of the things now, there's this big, there's no more, for example, Iron Man. That's like a huge role gone. So I'm curious to see where they're going to take the MCU, and how they've said before the shows are going to tie into the films. So I'm curious how
these shows, I think, they haven't in the past, even though they said it was all connected. Like, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was a very one-sided relationship where
Comic-Con, Kevin Feige and directors, they all said that WandaVision will lead into Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, whatever the film title is. Now that's set in stone, that's confirmed. So I'm curious to see
the Upside Down Brick says Krako's such a downer. I'm a realist.
I think the word would be cynic.
I'm a bit cynical, but
I've been accused of that too, but it's okay.
Yeah,
I think it happens with age. You get to see patterns, and you see things happen that you sort of go, okay, I've been burnt once before.
And yeah, Disney Plus is increasing price at some point. I'm not sure when the actual date is, but I think it's supposed to be sometime next year or the year after.
It's a $1 price increase, so it's not terrible. It's still even at the $8, $7, $8 it's going to be. It's still the best buy in streaming content.
It's going to be a huge price increase for me though, because I did the whole pre-order a year of it, so I got a year for $49.99. And now it's going up from $6.99 a month if you pay for it monthly to $7.99, or the offer is a year for $79.90. So I'm looking at basically like a 30 quid increase for the year.
I was just thinking, you mentioned how much it's going to cost. It would be a great gift for somebody. Like, if you don't know what to get that, a person in your life, a friend, family member, get them a 1-year subscription to Disney Plus. I believe you can do that. And it's like the gift that keeps giving.
Yeah.
Or don't. I mean, whatever. You hate your family. Don't do it. I was just thinking, like, you're always trying to find something to get for people, and you maybe get them a gift card if you don't know what it is. But this is like, it's like getting a gift card, but it's something that I think is pretty valuable.
I feel like that is a thing already. At least I swear I've seen that in supermarkets, Netflix cards, where you can give someone like free 6 or 12 months Netflix subscription. I can't speak. Subscription. There you go.
Yeah.
So maybe I can see that definitely being something that happens in the future with Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you give it to Rogue, he's definitely going to be happy. So
absolutely, yeah. I honestly, I could see the price of Disney settling at 15. I don't know what it'd be in pounds or euros or anything for anyone else that's watching, but I could see it settling around $15 to $20 eventually, and I would still be okay with paying that for what content I'm getting.
What I'm doing now is just giving lots of new content and stuff, and making sure the site's fresh and that there's lots of content of what you're paying for. Then it's okay.
Dude, Mandalorian, like watching Mandalorian is like watching a movie. I mean, a shortened movie each week, but like you take that series, whatever it is, 7 to 10 hours or whatever it's going to be. That to me is probably worth $20 on its own.
Yeah, I think it was Kathleen Kennedy said, I think it was at Celebration, or I think it was a premiere of Mandalorian. She said, it's pretty much Star Wars movie content being produced and released. It's being released once a week. It's great.
Yeah, if they made a Mandalorian film and they put it out in theaters and you went to see it with your family, like how much would that cost you to go watch? Exactly. You're paying $7 to watch, a month of this basically.
I just feel like it's going to reach a saturation point at some point when they have like so many different streaming services. Like a lot of people made the jump to streaming because it was just Netflix was the main one, and you paid that, and people were like, this is so much more better value than having over in the UK. We have like Sky, I guess it's like cable in the US.
Yeah,
where you pay for all these different add-ons and channels.
You pay for 200 channels for $200 a month, and you watch 7 of those. And
I just feel like what's going to happen is that they're going to have so many different streaming services that people will eventually get to a point where they'll say no. I mean, I think first of all, people will start signing up to them, and then they start like seeing the credit card bill coming in, and they have like 15 different subscription services on there, and they'll be like, okay, enough's enough, and that's when you'll see like a dip in the sales of those, and then it'll be what's the next thing, Because
I think there's going to be, I think you'll see it's going to be a cable 2.0, where there's going to be a company that comes out and bundles all of these streaming services together for a discount. And you'd be like, well, if I was paying this individually, it'd be this much. I'll sign up for that. And then instead of it just being regular cable or Sky or whatever you have, it would be, you'd have your Netflix and your Hulu and your Disney and that stuff on there.
That would be good.
The only streaming service I have now is Disney Plus, just because, it's well,
it's the one we watch the most, honestly. Like, I mean, with having a kid and all this stuff and watching Mandalorian, we get a lot of value out of
I feel like if you've got a kid, definitely you get more value. Disney Plus, we have that, but be honest with you, the one I watch the most is still Netflix.
Netflix, I think, has the most the well-rounded catalog.
Yeah, it has the most variety in terms of like tone and genre. With Disney, because at the moment they only have stuff that is Disney appropriate. Like they have all the stuff from Fox and everything. I wish they would do like a section of Disney Plus that would have those films on there that don't fit the sort of Disney family-friendly mold or whatever.
Actually, yeah, they're doing
a new. But because they could do that, and then I feel like Disney Plus would really be a rival to Netflix. But at the moment, I feel like Netflix is my main streaming service, is my main viewing, and then Disney is like an add-on. And I know in 2021 HBO Max is coming to the UK, and I think that's going to do really well because I feel like cinemas are still going to be a no-go, for at least the first 6 months of the year, if not longer. And having those big movies coming straight to HBO Max the day they're released, I feel is going to draw a lot of people to it.
They're going to need to do something for their.
So go ahead.
They're going to have to do something with their catalog though, because as it stands right now, HBO Max is twice the cost of Disney.
Really?
And the content isn't nearly as plentiful. I mean, I think 2021 is going to be very interesting for that. Sure. But I think I'm probably like a lot of people though. Like you sign up for these things, you don't really think about it. Your credit card gets charged $7, 15, whatever, and you just continue going on. They raise the price every once in a while. You don't notice that. It becomes a part of your life almost. And that's what these companies are trying to do.
I think Netflix as well, and why I cancelled it is just that I used to really like it. I just got a point in terms of what I'm into. They weren't releasing that much at certain times. So I was just like, I'm just paying to not use it, so I just cancelled it. Whereas Disney Plus, there's a lot of things like, they're not releasing things every single, apart from Mandalorian, of course, but once that finishes, there won't be new Star Wars already, but there's still things on there I'm going to watch all the time and happy to rewatch, which is why it's the only thing I've got. Whereas Netflix, it's like, there's some cool stuff on there, but it's not stuff that I, want to rewatch every few weeks and such.
Yeah, but regardless of what you find, like even on Netflix, if you had that for 1 month and you found like one series that you really enjoyed and you watched the whole thing or whatever, binged it all, I think that's enough to get your value out of it.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot more on Netflix. Tell you what though, one thing that I find abysmal on all of like the streaming services, because I've tried Amazon Prime whenever they get off me a free trial as well, is the menus. They're so bad at trying to find what you want, and then they give you like the recommendations, but they will recommend like the same 8 movies or TV shows just under different headings over and over.
Is this on Prime, you're saying?
This is on all of them, on Netflix as well. Just like even Disney.
Yeah.
Disney is a little bit better, I find, actually, out of all of them, because it puts the newer stuff right at the top. But then the thing that annoys me with Disney Plus is that you'll watch a show and then it'll go recommended for you, and it's the thing that you just watched. And they're like, why? Why you have the data that I watched, that.
It sounds like YouTube.
Says, will we get a DC streaming service over here? Well, they did DC Universe in America, but that's been cancelled now. It's been turned to just a comic streaming service, and all the live action and cartoon content on that is going over to HBO Max. So I think that's coming over with HBO Max to the UK next year.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll have all the DC stuff on there as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like the best way possible going forward would be, like Greg says, if there's a company that does a bundle of these together and you get them a discounted rate. Otherwise, it's just going to get too expensive. And you know what will happen? Piracy will go back up again. Because
what'll happen with this bundle, though, is that it'll be like cable, where they're like, I know you want these 3 things, but we also have these other 6 things that are kind of sucky, but we're going to put them in there and we're still going to give you a bit of a discount, but you got to pay for all of these things.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, every company does that. Lego sets do that when they put the filler in, don't they? Like, you really want these 3 minifigures and this build, but we're going to give you 2 of these figures that you don't want, and then this little crappy build,
Like, obviously, you can make more money forcing people to buy stuff. Like, cable would probably still be a thing if you could be like, well, I like watching this channel, and this channel. So instead of me paying $100 per month, I'll pay you $15 per month.
Yeah,
they're like, no.
Well, to get that channel, you have to get this bundle with these 16 channels that you're never going to watch.
The most obnoxious thing, though, about television is the fact that you pay for it. You pay all that money up front, and then you have to sit through content that has commercials in it as well. It's
never
like,
understand that.
Shouldn't you be paying me to watch this stuff, or at least have it be free?
Well, there was a thing before when Netflix sent a survey out to customers, and they were like basically saying they're planning on putting commercials in front of content, and people were like, "Oh, I'll just cancel my subscription because it's ridiculous." In the UK, basically, we have to pay for like terrestrial, like the bog standard channels that come through your TV without any subscription. We have to pay a TV license, but it is only for BBC. So the other channels, they have ads on them, and that the ads pay for the TV. But because if you have access to BBC, which you do by default, you still have to pay the TV license, even if you don't watch BBC. It's so stupid. Yeah.
Well, here it's basically the cable companies and the lawmakers are basically the same people. So that's
we shouldn't even moan being rogue, though, because you have so many advert breaks in the US. I remember like one night we were in bed in the hotel and we were putting the TV on because we had like a long day going around all these different locations for the Ghostbuster movies. And This Is the End, the comedy movie with Seth Rogen and what's his name? David Franco, I can't remember his name.
James Franco,
yeah. So I put that on because I thought, oh, that's a nice film to watch. I enjoyed that. I'll have a laugh. I'll probably fall asleep watching it. I didn't fall asleep watching it. I watched it right to the end. And it was appropriately titled This Is the End, because I swear the film is like 90 minutes long. It took me 3 hours to watch it. Every 5 minutes is an advert break. And then here's the best thing. They put an advert break between the last scene of the movie and the credits.
Yeah, I was going to mention the double rules. Basically, they'll have a show that goes to a commercial break. You'll come back for like a little 30-second deal, and then they'll go to another ad break right after that. Yeah. It's like the crap that YouTube pulls on you, where it's like the first ad that you can skip, and then there's another ad after that, and it's just such ridiculousness.
Yeah, I remember the first time I watched Smallville. Someone sent me a copy of it that was like pirated off a US TV channel. This is way back in the day, like when you had to like use Kazaa to get stuff. And on there they had the advert breaks, and they literally played the opening theme song, "Somebody Save Me," and then went to an advert break. I was like, we didn't even get to see any new footage. We just watched the opening credits. That was it.
Yeah, it doesn't become more apparent than when you actually watch one of these shows like on Netflix and you realize it's only 22 minutes long.
Yeah, I watched an episode of Futurama. It was longer than Lord of the Rings, the extended edition. Just because of the ad breaks. It was insane. Oh, man. I don't know how you guys tolerate it.
I don't really watch TV anymore.
No, I don't watch TV. No.
Yeah, there was so many adverts. Like, I thought the YouTube clips were just like, it was like one long clip cut into sections, but no, those were literally the length of the clips before an ad break, and it was just.
I mean, imagine being a kid that grew up on Netflix these days, and then you go to watch regular TV, say at someone's house. You're like, wait, what's happening right now? Why did you stop my content?
Yeah. It's funny though, because in the UK at least, I don't know if this is the tradition in America or if they have an equivalent, but like they pay extra for ads in what they call prime time. So like basically like anywhere between like 6:30 to 9, where they think most families are sitting down to watch TV. But guarantee you, as soon as the ad break comes on, most people get up and make a cup of tea or go to the toilet. So not even watching the ads. So you're paying more money because you're thinking, there's more people watching TV. But what they'll do is as soon as the ad comes on, all right, go for a pee, go get a cup of tea,
Yep.
Get a biscuit. Yeah, I don't watch live TV anymore. I watch YouTube, Netflix, Disney Plus, and when I get the free trial of Amazon Prime, that's it.
I find YouTube to be so much more engaging than what TV is. Like I can go through the TV channels and there's just nothing there that I really want to see. But I mean, with the way YouTube is curated and you pick the things that interest you, like I see all tons of videos. I'm like, oh yeah, I want to watch that. And that's a part of that's YouTube just doing an amazing job of like kind of knowing your history and stuff. But to me, it's just, I just can't watch TV shows anymore.
I agree with Chris from it. It's the only thing I watch on TV as well. Yeah, it's just sports. Like, I think a lot of the good shows are all going to streaming services now. They've all realized money is really and even like YouTube like content, the quality of things has gone up so high that to a point where they can pretty much produce TV quality stuff on YouTube and you can watch for free. So it's like, there's just not really much on TV that's really to watch anymore.
Kind of linking those two topics. Speaking of something that started on YouTube and then went to Netflix. Have you seen the trailer for season 3 of Cobra Kai?
I can't wait.
It looked cool.
Oh, it looks so good. There's some characters coming into it from the Karate Kid movies. I think from Karate Kid 2 as well. Some of the characters that he met when he was in Japan. But yeah, it looks so good.
It looks really good.
I completely forgot that it was coming out so soon because we had just watched it, maybe like a month or two ago. It hasn't been too long. And it's nice when, unlike Stranger Things, where you watch season 3 and it's like 6 years later and you're still waiting for the next season.
What is it? It's like, I think its average is 18 to 24 months between seasons of Stranger Things, something like that. It's crazy.
It's brutal. That's why I loved watching Game of Thrones, at least for a period of time, because we hadn't watched any of it. And someone gave us like the DVDs for like the first 6 seasons. So we just went in like crazy on that and we're binging it. And you never even had to stop. Like when everyone else had to wait a year, you had to wait until you could switch the disc, basically.
Yeah. It's great when you find a series like that you've missed out on the first time and you can just binge watch it in its entirety. It's so good.
That's what I want to do with Mandalorian.
If you've been aware of like spoilers as well, because you felt like, you haven't been paying attention, you haven't been aware of the show, it's so much better, I find.
I remember when Disney Plus launched Clone Wars, at one point, I think it was for a long time, actually, during lockdown, the most streamed show in the world. It was, because everyone was, they finally realized what this was, and everyone was binge watching it, and it was all there as well, so you could easily watch. You could watch episode 2, then all of Clone Wars, then episode 3, and it was great. It was great. There's hours and hours of content there you could just watch, in a week. It was really cool.
Yeah.
And like Greg was saying, Mandalorian as well. You can, after the season's over, you can just binge watch the season.
Oh, I would love just to watch this entire season. I would watch it in like one night. It'd be so great.
Yeah.
I mean, with Cobra Kai, it's a little different because the first 2 seasons were on the YouTube Red. That's what they were made for. And then YouTube decided they didn't want to continue doing it. So Netflix bought the rights up. And what they did is they also bought the rights to season 1 and 2 so that they could put it on their platform and get audiences up to speed. So that's why it's not a longer gap. There's going to be a bigger gap between season 3 and 4, I think. That said, I believe they've filmed seasons 3 and 4 back to back because they both got commissioned at the same time. But yeah, Stranger Things, it's already a massive delay between seasons, and now with COVID, it's been pushed back even further. It's crazy.
It still might do quite well, but at this point, no one's talking about it, so it must have a huge effect on I think it'll have a huge effect on how popular the show is going to be. At this point, I'll be honest, I thought it was okay when I watched it, but at this point, I don't really care for the show personally. Like, because it's been so long as well waiting for it, it's just like,
What?
you know, and like even watching it, I thought it was cool, but I don't know, it just wasn't for me.
Craggle's heart's broken.
You know what it is? There's not enough Disney in it.
I mean, no.
Craggle's getting a feeling of what it's like when when Craggle doesn't like Disney for
No,
Rogue or Star Wars.
You're like,
how dare you offend me like
how
this?
dare you don't like the things I like? I've always been like that.
It's always Disney, but it's not. It's just the show in general. I just, it was all right. Like season 2 on, and season 3 I thought was probably the best of the 3, but yeah, just wasn't for me really.
I think I had an issue with season 2 because I had watched it right after 1, and I think I was getting a little burnt out on it, and I didn't love season 2 as much. But when 3 finally came around, I was like, dude, this is really cool.
Yeah,
2 is a weird one for me because I first watched it back to back with season 1 and to get like it all done before the set came out. And I loved them both. I didn't really get like people saying why season 2 was boring. When I rewatched them and I like limited myself to only watching like 1 or 2 episodes a week, season 2 dragged. The last 3 episodes are great, but up until then, it really is very slow. But then saying that, it's weird because so much of like the Stranger Things like icons that you think of, the visual icons, come from season 2. So it's But season 3 I thought was definitely a return to form. Like, it's right up there with the first season in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like it's an all right show. I'll watch it and it might be cool. It's just I'm not as like into it. I think I don't know. It's just. It's all right.
Ty O'Connor says those Stranger Things kids will have their own kids by the time the next series is out. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Stranger dads.
Stranger dads.
It is tough when you're filming these shows that feature, adolescents or whatever, and they're growing up all this time while you're waiting to film or filming. One show I'm jacked that doesn't exist right now is Survivor. It's like the one show that would be perfect during a COVID situation where they go off to an island to film these things where people are getting kind of voted off. Why can't that show exist?
That's like I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. They do it with celebrities. Yeah, they did
like
that
if you're going to like an island, have everyone tested for COVID before you go. Like lock them down or whatever. Make sure they're all clean, and then send them off to the island and shoot your show.
I don't know.
I mean, some films have continue production during lockdown. I know that Mission Impossible is like finishing or finished production now for next Mission Impossible.
The Batman is at the stop and start like 8 times because crew members keep getting COVID all the time.
I mean, if they can organize like the NBA season or NFL or whatever and try to keep these people all good, you could keep your production in a bubble, I would assume,
Yep.
Like if you got hundreds of millions of dollars riding on these things, you could have this under control to the point that you could film the thing you're trying to do.
Yeah. You had Project Restart for football here in the UK, and it's at a point now where at some of the grounds, fans are now slowly being allowed back to the games, like 2,000 fans, I think it's maximum. But yeah, like they've been slowly managing it. So yeah, I think production next year will not go back to normal, but we'll see an increase in things being produced. Like I know that Kenobi starts production early next year, and then Andor. What?
You just bring it back to Star Wars about what we talk about.
It's like an example of stuff going into production, which is what we're talking about. Okay. But yeah, like Andor start production as well. Like it's all going back. I think it will get better next year.
Sure.
And now the vaccine thing being talked about as well.
I guess we're hoping everything goes back to normal next year, ideally.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I don't think it's going to go back straight away, though, as some people are hoping. I feel like a lot of people figured, like, by New Year's Day, we'll be back to how things were, but I feel like it's going to be a slow process.
Dude, I'm just hoping by, like, summertime. That'd be nice, so we could actually kind of have some type of normalcy. But, I don't know. It's 6 months.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Any other topics to talk about? Besides Star Wars?
Should we open it up to any Star Wars questions in the chat? We can do our. I
don't want to ask you. I feel like Lucasfilm was our sponsor today.
Lucasfilm?
I'll take that.
I mean, that'd be wonderful, honestly.
They got enough money, haven't they? So
we've hyped Disney Plus up so much. We should hit them up and see if we can get some free subscriptions to give away and stuff. That'd be cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyways, it is open to the chat. If you guys have any questions or topics you want us to talk about, it could be anything. It could be Star Wars, non-Star Wars. Personal questions for Rogue.
Yeah, I think there's
very,
some
very personal questions. If it's fine.
Chat in the chat now. Going about different seasons and things. And yeah, Yoda. Yeah, it was a shame that season 6 got cut short, but at least we got something. And I agree though. It's a shame a lot of things got lost, but hopefully one day, I don't know, in the distant future. But it's alright.
We can always look to the future and hope for the best for everything.
Yeah, and yeah, Spies Republic. Yeah, I do think it was a mistake to make all of Legends non-canon, or the EU non-canon, and calling it Legends. I agree. It's cool that they bring some of it back in Mandalorian, for example. But you're right. Yeah, it's a shame a lot of it got lost.
Red 5 has a question.
How to ask out a girl?
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I've asked out a girl. I don't know. What do you do? I would say you use technology these days, right?
Yeah, I'm out to live there.
You don't actually approach them in person because of the rejection that you could face. So I would say do something like text them or hit them up on Instagram or something like that and be like, yo, I don't know how you want to ask. But say,
especially with COVID, you can't even walk up to a girl now because that would be breaking lockdown rules.
Yeah, what do you do for a date? Do you have like a FaceTime date? Do you do like on Skype or something like that? Like, what are people doing these days for dating? I'm actually curious about that if anyone is.
Yeah, especially because like cinemas are going to be all gone by the end of next year, it seems like. So where would you even take one?
That's true.
Bowling? Is bowling still a thing?
So I kind of asked Cradle, I'm a celeb film near you.
No.
Here's a question for Mrs. Craggle. What's the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow, Craggle?
What do you mean, an African or European swallow?
I think she might be messing with you here.
It's a quote. Don't worry.
I know. I've heard
Han's got a cool question. Weird question, but would you like a Star Wars show in the style of the Mandalorian credits concept art? I think that'd be interesting.
I love watching the end of that show. Like seeing the art they do at the end is like, oh man, fantastic.
And it's cool to see because it's concept art. Like they do the same thing for the films, but it's cool we actually get to see it now as part of the.
Did you Rogue? Did you get the Art of Mandalorian art book at all?
No, the first one was just faster. So I didn't.
I was just curious if like it had the same pictures that were on the end credits. Or...
No, I mean I might get it. It's just from what I heard, it really wasn't good quality. Like it was a quality of just a stand. It wasn't like as special as they made it out to be. So I'm gonna wait. I need to look into it more, but. Yeah, it would be cool. Yeah, if there was a book of all of that, and I know that at least the Star Wars The Black series has made some figures where they're based off that art. They call it the credit edition figures. It's like there's a Death Trooper and the Mandalorian, and the figures are based off the characters in those concept art photos. So it's quite.
I'm really curious though, especially the last episode, because it showed. I don't know if it's too soon to talk. I won't talk about it, but yeah, there was some differences in the story and the concept art of the credits to what actually happened in the episode. But yeah,
are you talking about the part where Grogu died?
And Jar Jar was revealed as the big bad. Yeah,
isn't that terrible?
Darth Jar Jar. Still waiting for Darth Jar Jar. Still waiting.
Apparently, DZ Studios says how to ask a girl. Watch BFAB.
I don't know. I don't.
A flea mail.
Yeah, I wouldn't not recommend that. Upside Down Brick says, send him an email. Dear, to whom it may concern, I would like to formally ask you out on a date. Signed. I don't know what you do, honestly.
Yoda, yeah, I agree. The Mandalorian has some of the best credits out there. I don't know if it's the best, but it's really cool.
One thing I don't like is that they have like the post, like not the post, the recap at the start, and then you have that Star Wars like intro where it has all the different helmets. I feel like that should be before. It just bugs me that you have like the intro to the show and then that. It's like, well, if we didn't know we were watching Star Wars by this point, why are you telling us?
I think they should cut that entirely. I think it should go from like the recap to the Mandalorian screen to right to the show.
I think
that would make sense.
I can't remember if this is the case, but I think it's where if you click the skip intro button, I think it just skips to that, which I think is why they've left it there. I don't know, but there might just be a reason for it.
Here's something Star Wars for Rogue. You need to Google Jar Jar the Sith Lord and rewatch the
I've looked into the theory. Yeah, I've looked into the theory.
My biggest question is, why is he Googling? I'm confused here.
Ask Jeeves.
We don't do Google around here, Chris. It's Ask Jeeves territory.
Upside Down Brick asks if any of you guys collect Star Wars Black Series, just Star Wars figures in general. And yes, I do collect them myself. But
I would probably start, but it would get dangerous, so I haven't yet.
No, I don't.
They're cool though.
Yeah, I love them. I've got some new ones as well. They're really cool. I like them.
Christopher Mitt says, favorite non-Star Wars score to a movie?
This is a good question. Are you talking soundtrack or the main score?
I think he means score.
Main score?
He's used Star Wars as a reference, so I guess then, like, you know, it means like the musical.
Okay. I always liked. That's just one that comes to mind. The Tron Legacy score was really cool. The main theme, I like that.
Wait, I think he's asking non-Star Wars movies in general.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So he's talking about other movies outside of Star Wars?
Yeah.
You should have said non-Disney because Rogue just listed Disney films.
Dark Knight's not.
Dark Knight. Oh, sorry, I missed that. I just hit Tron Legacy.
Mine is.
Yeah, Dark Knight I liked quite a lot. The Avengers score has always been fantastic. Really like that one.
You're missing the best movie of all time, though.
I mean, there is one very random one. It's Rush. It's a Formula One film. That is a great score. Sorry.
This score to Home Alone.
Yeah, that's a good one. John Williams as well. I really like the Batman '89 by Danny Elfman.
Yeah,
the score of that one.
Upside Down Brick, I agree. Yeah, Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park. Yeah,
I could name like 1,000 Disney ones, but yeah.
Razor Lost Ark.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah,
it's a good theme. And yeah, also I said Rush, the Formula One film. Also Le Mans '66 or Ford vs Ferrari, the great score. I like racing films.
I can tell.
Yeah. Yeah. Wonder Woman, it says Miss Craggle. Yep, a great score.
Wonder Woman.
So yeah, that was some cool scores. For sure. John Williams is my favorite composer for films. So.
Oh, Spartan has an answer to the question from earlier about how to meet a girl. Ask her to meet at Starbucks with masks on, get some food, and walk around the park or something. Always works. Winky face.
How would you eat food and drink Starbucks with masks on?
You just put it up to your mask, just shove it through there.
I like the Commander Cody profile picture. That's cool. Is that from I don't know where it's from, but it looks cool. Rampaging Elephant says Polar Express, Jurassic Park, the original Spider-Man trilogy. Yep. 1989 Batman, Speed Racer. That's a cool soundtrack. Yeah, you're right. Actually, Speed Racer is a cool one. And Indiana Jones. Yeah, of course. And yeah, Christopher Mitz. Anything by John Williams is gold.
Pretty much. He's the daddy.
And try watching Formula One. Yep, watch it there. Watch it every week. Grew up with it. Love Formula One. Huge fan. Lord of the Rings. Yeah, it's a great one. Mission Impossible. That's another good one.
What, the score? Yeah, it's a good theme tune, but does it really have a good score?
I don't know. Theme tune score. You know what I mean? It was cool.
I think to have a score, it has to be good music throughout the movie rather than just a theme tune.
Home Alone.
Yeah, Home Alone.
I mean, it's all just
fantastic score all the way through.
It's just all Christmas movies, but
I love how creepy the start of it is as well. Like with the logo and it has the little light come on.
Scary, isn't it?
Yeah.
Did anyone say Harry Potter as well? Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. This is getting out of hand. We need a new question, peeps.
Do you plan on seeing Wonder Woman 84? Not in cinema. I do plan to see it.
I already paid for it, so yes.
Nice. Yeah, they're releasing it in cinemas here in the UK.
Is anyone going to go to them? Like, they're open? I'm assuming.
I'm not going to go see it. No.
No, probably not. I really miss going to the cinema, but I just don't feel like it's a wise move to do at this point. Especially in Wales, we're having like a massive spike in cases. It's like the highest it's been now since like before the first lockdown. It's crazy.
Yeah, my ideal scenario isn't to sit in a room with the same people for 2 hours straight, breathing in their air necessarily. Yeah. Something that like it's weird. Like I feel like this is going to create a lot of germaphobes because things you never thought about before, now all of a sudden you're thinking about. You know, like that when you touch the credit card machines and stuff at the store, you're like, how many hundreds of people have touched this in the last day or whatever? Or just little simple things.
ATM as well. Like, yeah,
but maybe it'll be one of those things that we think about now, but like a year from now when everything's kind of like mellowed out, you're like, yeah, whatever. I didn't die before. I'm probably not going to die now.
I'm telling you, we're going to turn into Demolition Man. Like no contact, hands greetings. So no physical contact.
Zoom dates.
Yeah. Free seashells.
Yeah.
Oh, apparently in Cyberpunk, in the video game, if you go into the public toilet, it has the free seashells.
Interesting. I've been seeing a little bit about that game, about how it's just like so bad with bugs and stuff.
Yeah,
I know Brickenet's been playing it, Chris. I know he said from the first bit of the game he didn't find anything so far in terms of bugs, but
I saw a dude that booted it up. It was like doing this like little intro thing. The guy hadn't even played yet. Like it was just showing like this video starting out, and then the PlayStation crashed.
Oh my!
He's just like,
that's terrible.
I think it depends on whether you're playing on a new console or an old one as well. But I think it's one of those things. Like I saw the list of bugs that they fixed, and it was like pages long. So I'm sure over time it'll become an amazing.
It's crazy to think that it's been in development so long and has so many bugs still, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's crazy that in 1 week or in just even a couple of days since it's been out, like they've been able to fix that much. They must just have a lot of people working on that.
Yeah, it just looks like Lego Star Wars, the wise thing of just delaying the game again and again and again and again. And you know what? Funny enough, they delayed it again. So it looks like they're doing the right thing there. Yeah.
Any other questions? Anyone? If we have,
I guess one question I could have is, it's January 1st, midnight. You're on Shop at Home. What's the first set you had to check out? January 1st. Or the first thing
Oh wait, that's January 10th actually. So no.
January 10th.
The Spring Lantern Festival.
Ah, right. Okay. Well, it's the first day. Okay, it's the first day of 2021 when you're buying new Lego sets. What's the first set you had to check out? Personally, out of the new sets, I'd probably go with the TIE Fighter at the moment.
I don't know.
I don't know either. I've been seeing some fun Technic stuff. Like I saw that Technic Jeep that's coming out, and I saw a Technic Gravedigger that's coming out. We already have the Minecraft sets, so I got those.
Yeah.
The thing is, like for me, like I have so much crap that I've yet to build that I don't. Like I'm not like desperately waiting like someone like a Ginblade who has like this one theme that they're all in on and they buy them right away. And then you wait 6 months for like the next moment when that thing happens again. I'm just kind of like, dude, I can get it in February, March.
I love how at the last minute you got the obligatory reference to Ginblade. I think he's been talked about on every single podcast.
That's sad.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Oh, Mark Beast is the Top Gun soundtrack.
Well, I needed to find someone that's obsessed with one theme in particular. And being that Rogue has already talked about Star Wars, I'm kidding.
He's not going to come back now.
He's not. I was just.
there's other reasons.
We should put a disclaimer up on that. Both Greg and Craggle love Rogue, and that we only take the mick out of him in a playful way.
I'm so disappointed that joke cost me Rogue coming back ever again. That sucks. I take it back.
No, it's one thing for me to like insult him, but if you insult him, that's like next level.
I was trying to be funny.
We're like the two kids that bicker and argue, and you're like our daddy.
Yeah. I'm like, now I'm gonna end your little field trip.
Lego Home says the police station is the first set.
Nah.
Cool.
Nah.
And yeah, Lester makes a good point. Depends.
I will say that I should know what I'm gonna get because we just recorded a new video for my channel when it's actually me and Mrs. Craggle going through the 95 coming soon sets. On Lego.com and saying what we're going to get, but I can't think of a single one right now. I'm drawing a blank.
I hear that. I think I should do it. That's a good video idea, actually.
There's a Ninjago one that has a minifig of me. That's definitely going to be a day one purchase.
Oh yeah, that's one of the Elemental people.
No way. You have two sig figs coming out?
2 sig figs of me coming out in the same year.
How did you get so popular with Lego all of a sudden? Then they ban you, which is the weirdest thing.
Me, they make a brickhead of me. I complain. They ban me. I complain about the Lego Colosseum, and then they give me 2 different sig figs. So,
yeah, you're doing pretty good.
Yoda says I'm getting the Mando set, awesome, and I'm going to have to decide which Ninjago set. Yeah, Ninjago sounds pretty cool next year. Some good stuff. Of course, the anniversary wave as well. Sounds
Monkey
great.
Kid is better always.
Yeah. I
like Sunshine and a Rainy Brick. Very simple. Don't hate on me, but for me to be the little city camper. I like that.
Isn't that like meant to be like the third installment in the trilogy? Like there was either a camping or a tent set that had like a mother and a father and a child, like a baby, and then the next set then had the baby had grown up as like a kid, and then this one now the kid is a grown up and he's got his own partner and a child.
Oh, I didn't know they were connected in that way.
Yeah,
I think
it's interesting.
I think right now for 2021 sets, TIE Fighter in terms of the new Star Wars sets at the moment, because it looks like the Tauntaun set won't come out till April or May. Then there'll be that Microfighter. The AAT I still need to get. The X-Wing probably get next year.
Star Wars.
Well, yeah, because I concentrate on one theme at this point,
See?
Disney-wise, They're not too much for Lego Disney next year. I still want to get the Mickey and Minnie buildable figures. They look brilliant, so they're on my list to get. Of course,
Mosaic. You're getting the Mosaic?
Yeah, I'll probably get the Mosaic at some point as well, if I do get it. That is, the Galaxy's Edge set, of course, is a priority to get for me next year. I need to get that. So I'll probably make that my May 4th set. I don't know, but yeah. So I've got a few ideas next year. I'm just trying to make a nice list that I can tick off one by one after I get each one, and when that's finished, then I'll look into other themes and see if there's anything I like. The McLaren Center, I think, from Technic is one I might get.
Ooh, that's beautiful.
So far, I have every Lego McLaren because I'm a big McLaren fan, so I probably will get out at some point.
Mrs. Craggle said it was a long video we shot. I remember Mario and Dots for me.
Oh yeah.
Nice. Oh crap! I'm gonna have to buy all those Mario sets too. That's gonna be expensive.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird.
It says Marvel sets and Star Wars. Yeah, Marvel looks like it's gonna have a cool year as well. Lots of great minifigures, and the sets do look decent as well. So Marvel
there's some ones that I'm really excited about Marvel. Then the other ones are just like duds for me. But they're the 4+ ones, so it's not different market. It's fine.
I'm definitely gonna get the Miles Morales mech. I should have said that actually as well. Yeah, the Miles Morales mech. I'm definitely gonna get.
Oh, that minifig is amazing.
That minifig is gorgeous.
I'm getting that. I'm getting the Carnage one with the Ghost Rider. I'm going to get the Captain America just for that shield piece, basically.
Like, if I do get it, I'm not sure if I'm going to get the set yet, but there is, of course, that set with Spider-Gwen as well. So I want to get a couple of the Spider-Verse characters because I love that film. So I need to get Miles Morales, definitely. And then, I'm going to try and get Spider-Gwen at some point as well. And some of the other characters. Yeah. Spider-Man Noir is in the Spider-Man plane right now. And that Spider-Ham is in that Venom dinosaur set as well. So they've got a couple of the characters out.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Cool.
And someone says, Rem
should
says,
we call it there?
I guess so. Yeah. I mean, we're pretty deep into this. Hope everyone had fun hanging out with us today as we talk about a little bit of everything, I suppose. What all did we cover? We covered Star Wars, Disney Plus, Advent calendars,
Star Wars.
There was what was the other thing? Star Wars. Yeah, that was it. It was a fun one. We're always happy to have Rogue come back whenever he's available. It's a good time. We if you guys are wondering, we do these like once a month. It kind of depends on people's schedules and who's available when. So we'll be doing this again, of course, in the new year, I'm assuming. And we appreciate you all watching and hanging out with us. If you want to subscribe to these guys, I think I only have Rogue's channel down below.
The racism continues now.
Don't subscribe to Craggle, but you got to subscribe to Rogue because he's going to be opening that set very soon and building it and enjoying it, and he wants to share that with you.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I'll be building Galaxy's Edge, and some cool. I got this to build. I've got Donald Duck brickheads back there as well. I just built this week as well, the Kylo Ren shuttle. So lots of things to build over the next few weeks, and happy building, everyone.
There you go.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for coming, Rogue, and go subscribe to Craggle's channel too. I'm just kidding around. I'm gonna put a link down below. Hope you guys have a glorious rest of your day, your week, your month, and we'll see you in the next Bricks and Bricks.